favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are approved. There is no old business, new business. 2023-2, 722 South Fifth Street. Hold a public hearing wherein the petitioner is seeking a variance to section 5.02 of the adopted development regulations to allow a reduction in required off-street parking spaces for a restaurant use. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant is requesting a variance, as you said, for a reduction in the required off-street parking for the property located at 722 South Fifth. It's at the northwest corner of Fifth and Olive Street there. They are proposing to have a restaurant use operated out of the building by a tenant. Parking for restaurant uses is required at a rate of 1 per 3 seats. So that would be a requirement, and they've indicated there'll be 18 seats in the restaurants. So that would require 6 parking spaces. There are currently, there's currently a fair amount of off-street parking available directly adjacent to it. There's actually 6 head-in spaces right here on the south side of the building, but they're in the right-of-way. So since they're not on the actual property, we cannot consider those on site. Even though they pull right into the side of the building, they're in the right of way, so they are technically off site. So there is ample parking within proximity of the use. The property is zoned office business district, and a restaurant use within that district would require issuance of a special use permit. So this parking variance is just kind of the first step in that restaurant use, but that doesn't need to be kind of contingent upon each other, just this is the first step. So, Board of Zoning Appeals does have authority in a reduction for parking spaces. I can answer any questions you have before you get into discussion, and the applicant is here as well.
Okay. Any questions of staff? Any discussions or concerns? The parking on the south side there, it just seems to be kind of a technicality. There's plenty of parking. It's just because it's within the right of way, it can't
Yes.
count as
Correct.
in the normal, but in fact, there really is.
Yeah, it's right there for the building, but again, since it's not on the property, we can't technically consider it on-site parking.
Okay. Now, will city staff issue the special use permit? All we need to be concerned with is the waiver for the parking?
Yep, just for the parking, then the special use would be a different process.
Okay. Comments, questions, or shall I go ahead and go through the voting?
Any comments from anyone?
Oh. At this point, I'd like to open the public hearing. If there's anyone that would like to speak either in favor of or against, please go to the microphone and state your name.
William Moxley, sir. I also would like to add, I own the house next to the property, right there. And I also gave them permission to park in front of my house. I know it's not off street, but still opens up more parking. So that's all I wanted to say.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Comments or questions from the commission?
Well, just one, sir. The distance from the restaurant or from that building for parking that would be considered allowable or that would meet the requirement, what would that be? So across the street on the south.
Yeah, so we're allowed to, per the development regulations, we can allow for a reduction in off-street parking to be reduced by up to 50% for each on-street space within 500 feet. We cannot reduce it to 0 though, we can only reduce it by half, so that still wouldn't get us there in this case.
And 500 feet is considerable amount
That's
of,
quite a ways.
Yeah.
Well,
About 150 yards.
so I mean, from the
Zigzag.
front of the building, I mean, 500 feet is quite a ways.
to the
I
next
would have to
intersection.
Zoom out here. I mean, 500 feet is past Spruce to the south. So,
Yes, ma'am.
yep, so
Okay.
there's plenty of on-street parking. Like I said, we just can't reduce it to 0. We can only cut the required on-site parking by 50%.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Well, a request for a variance may be granted upon the finding of the board that all of the following conditions have been met. The board shall make a determination on each condition, and the finding shall be entered into the record. First one, that the variance requested arises from such condition which is unique to the property in question and is not ordinarily found in the same zone or district and is not created by an action or actions of the property owner or the applicant. We'll start with Commissioner
Yes.
Horth.
Agree.
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 That the granting of the permit for the variance will not adversely affect the rights of adjacent property owners or residents.
Agree.
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 That the strict application of the provisions of the development regulations from which the variance is requested will constitute unnecessary hardship upon the property owner represented in the application.
Agree.
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 That the variance desired will not adversely affect the public health, safety, morals, order, convenience, prosperity, or general welfare.
Agree.
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 And lastly, that the granting of the variance desired will not be opposed to the general spirit and intent of the development regulations.
Agree.
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 In granting a variance, the board may impose such conditions, safeguards, and restrictions upon the premises benefited by the variance as may be necessary to reduce or minimize and potentially injurious effect of such variance upon other property in the neighborhood and to carry out the general purpose and intent of these development regulations. Are there any such that the board wishes to mention?
No, but I did just think of a question for staff. So those are technically in the right-of-way. What if for some reason those spaces were taken? Then they're not gonna have to come back since they've got a variance,
No, they
right?
wouldn't, because the variance, the granting of the variance isn't based specifically on these 6 spaces. There's, again, plenty of on-street parking within
Yeah.
500-foot radius, so there would still be the required 6 spaces, plenty available within that radius.
Okay.
Okay, based on the findings, the board approves the variance request.
I have just one question.
Sure.
What kind of restaurant are you gonna open?
Kind of like pizza, chicken.
Okay. Thank you.
When will that go to planning commission?
They would need to make that application.
Okay. All right, second item on the agenda, 2023-06, 5000 10th Avenue. Hold a public hearing wherein the petitioner is seeking a variance to section 8.11 of the adopted development regulations to allow an increase in the allowable wall signage for a property zoned GBD, General Business District. And I believe this is the Walmart store.
Correct.
Staff report, please.
Bethany?
So the applicant is requesting a variance to allow 2 additional signs on the front, the east side, and 7 additional signs on the south wall for property zone GBD General Business District. The applicant has submitted the sign application to revise 7 existing signs on the front and add or relocate 12 new or existing signs on the front and side elevation. A sign variance was previously approved by City Commission on May 23rd, 2017, to allow installation of Vision Center and pickup signs, both on the east side of the building, and by the Board of Zoning Appeals on September 16th, 2019, to allow installation of a FedEx sign on the front elevation. So this request is to add 2 additional signs on the front and 7 additional signs on the south wall. And if the numbers sound like they don't add up, there's gonna be there's 11 signs total on the front right now, and there's going to be 13, 4 on the side, and there's gonna be 11. So that's an addition of 9 signs, 2 to the front and 7 to the side. Happy to take any questions, and the applicants are here.
Are there any restrictions on the size, or does the submission all meet the design standards for the size of the signs?
It does, we just need the variance for the number of signs.
Okay, so we don't need to worry about whether they're lighted or unlighted, or huge or small?
No, they
You
all
all will
meet.
take care of that, it's just a matter of the numbers? Okay. Any questions from the staff report?
No, sir.
Not really. I think it's just important to point out, though, that the overall square footage of the signage has been dramatically reduced.
That's true.
That's a good point.
Well, at this point, I'd like to open a public hearing. If anyone would like to speak in favor of or against, please go to the podium, state your name, and plead your case.
Scott Piper, do you need anything else or just my name?
That's fine.
I'm here on behalf of BRR for the Walmart store. Really, the whole idea behind it is just directionality and wayfinding for customers. So the front is just trying to get more access and better signage for the pharmacy drive-through, and then on the side, it's all for the auto center. So it's guiding customers to which stall they actually need to go to.
This is all being done in association with the total renovation of the building, when you're moving a bunch of the departments
Correct.
around.
Yep, and that remodel is currently underway. This is just for the signage portion of that.
Because if you go in there, you can't find anything.
That's when you use the Walmart app. That's what I do.
All right, any questions?
I want to talk about the Walmart app. No, my question's here.
Is the pylon sign changing?
The pylon sign is going to be existing to remain.
They're what?
It's going to be existing to remain.
Oh, okay.
I was curious about that too, because I saw the signs, but I wasn't aware that any of those, because this specifically sounds like it's those that are mounted on the building itself.
Yeah, just-
Okay. All right. Anything else?
So, if I may, sir, so it looks like, per your comment, ma'am, we've reduced it about the square footage by, what, 270, 280 square feet, but we've increased the signage by almost double, haven't we?
The numbers.
But it'd be smaller, such as those numbers on each side, so it does help, or it seems to help customers, or would help, potentially, but it doesn't seem to detract or,
It doesn't overpower
Yes.
either side of the building.
right,
If you go up there, you can kind of see them, and
well, yes, sir, except they're a
it's very small.
little too small even with my glasses on, so, yes, sir.
But, yeah, that would have been one of my concerns too, is that it would completely overpower the building and become a sign standard, but it seems very reasonable.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So it's really just a comment.
Right. Anything else? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else? If not, I'll close the public hearing, open it up for discussion amongst the commissioners. Hearing none, I'll go through the variance requests. First, That the variance requested arises from such condition which is unique to the property in question and is not ordinarily found in the same zone or district and is not created by an action or actions of the property owner or the applicant. Commissioner,
Agree.
Agree.
agree?
Agree.
Agree?
That the granting of the permit for the variance will not adversely affect the rights of adjacent property owners or residents.
Agree.
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 Agree?
That the strict application of the provisions of the development regulations from which the variance is requested will constitute unnecessary hardship upon the property owner represented in the application.
Agree.
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 Agree?
That the variance desired will not adversely affect the public health, safety, morals, order, convenience, prosperity, or general welfare.
Agree.
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 Agree?
And lastly, that the granting of the variance desired will not be opposed to the general spirit and intent of the development regulations.
Agree.
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 Agree?
In granting a variance, the board may impose such conditions, safeguards, and restrictions upon the premises benefited by the variance as may be necessary to reduce or minimize any potentially injurious effect of such variance upon other property in the neighborhood and to carry out the general purpose and intent of these development regulations. Are there any such conditions, safeguards, or restrictions the board wishes to add? Seeing none? Based on the vote and the approvals, the variance is granted. Okay. Anything else?
We do not have any other items. As I said, we do not have an April meeting, and I believe we do not have anything for May either. So, this is Mr. Bates' last meeting. His term is expiring May 1st, so thank you for being on the board for so long. We've appreciated the help, and Mike has agreed to hang in there until the mayor gets someone appointed, so hopefully for your sake, we'll have someone appointed before the next meeting. We will certainly do our best.
All right. I have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Thank you very much.